What's happening, everybody? We have the Indianapolis Colts and the Kansas City Chiefs at Arrowhead Stadium on Sunday Night Football. And this is a huge game specifically for the people of the state of Indiana. Not because it's a rematch of last year's AFC Divisional Round playoff game, not because it's a primetime game in front of a national audience, but because for the first time, people in the state of Indiana can bet on their Indianapolis Colts on Sunday night. And to get in on the action of this game, head over to crossingbroad.com/DK to check out DraftKings Sportsbook, which by far is the best betting option in the state of Indiana if you're looking for a quality app. And you can get a $200 bet match by visiting crossingbroad.com/DK.
You can make it rain.
All right, so let's get into this matchup so we know where to put our money. So, Kansas City comes into this game as an 11-point favorite over the Colts at DraftKings Sportsbook as we record this. Total set at 55.5. I have bad news, Colts fans. I don't think that your team is going to win this game. It's been a little bit of an uneven start for Indianapolis, 2-2. They, after a tough road overtime loss against the Chargers, bounced back with a pair of victories, a very impressive win over Tennessee on the road. Then they followed that up by beating the Atlanta Falcons at home. And then it all went to hell last week against an absolutely terrible Raiders team that simply does not win on the road. Inexplicably, the Colts lost that game to even their record at 2-2, and it really kind of took some of the shine off of this game. You would have had two first-place teams in a primetime battle, but instead it's the Colts trying to undo a little bit of the damage of their embarrassing loss a week ago, and it'll be the Chiefs trying to improve to 5-0 after this game. So, why do I like the Chiefs to cover this spread? First of all, it's worth pointing out that Andy Reid, both when he was with the Eagles and now here in Kansas City, has been very successful at home in primetime games. He's 7-3 ATS in such contests with the Chiefs, so we'll start there. Then I look at it from a more macro viewpoint. Undefeated home favorites that are favored by 11 or more points returning home off a road win, as the Chiefs are after beating the Lions last week, are 22-10-1 ATS, and they're 18-11 against the spread when favored between exactly 10 to 13 points, as the Chiefs are here. That is a more general trend that plays in their favor. Here's one that really works against the Colts, too. Road underdogs that lost their previous game as a favorite, and the Colts were favored by more than 7 at most sportsbooks a week ago, and then are a dog of 10 or more points in their following game, are only 25-41-2 against the spread, and they're 18-32-2 ATS in conference games. That is very, very, very problematic for the Colts in this game. Also, teams that lost their previous game as a favorite and then are a road underdog of 11 or more are 1-6 ATS in the last 3 seasons, dating back to the start of 2016. So recently, and really over a 15-plus year sample, this has been a very bad spot for teams like the Colts and what they face in this game, coming off a bad loss and then hitting the road as a big, big underdog. Now, take a look at this. Teams that won their previous game on the road, as Kansas City did, and then are favored by 10 or more points returning home in prime time games, are only 6-12 ATS, so there is a flicker of hope for the Colts based on this trend. It's tough to kind of go grab that road win, come home for a big nationally televised primetime game, and stay sharp. So when we have these bigger spreads in the following game, has been a little bit tricky for teams like the Chiefs. So that's one that you can put in your back pocket if you're really looking to play the Colts in this one. Meanwhile, road dogs of 11 or more that lost their previous game as a favorite are 2-5 in primetime games since 2005. So for all the hope that we just created, there's a trend that kind of goes right up against it. And again, it sort of washes it out and it leads me right back to the Chiefs. A couple things, though, I will say, and again, I know that we're talking to a lot of people that are eager to bet on the Colts from Indiana here. Frank Reich, who I think is a terrific coach. We saw him firsthand. We're here based in Philadelphia. Saw his work as an offensive coordinator the year the Eagles won the Super Bowl. It really typically has his team ready to play, especially when they're an underdog. You see he's 4-2-1 ATS as a road dog, but he is 0-1, as it says here, when they are an underdog of 10 or more points. Again, it's only one game, and I don't think you can really use a single game in isolation against him. Overall, the Colts have performed pretty well when they are road dogs. And then again, Frank Reich's Colts teams are 6-3-1 ATS on the road overall, and then 4-3 ATS on the road when he doesn't cover his previous game. So that's something to know. And also, for as good as Pat Mahomes is, and I mean, there's no doubt about it, he's on pace to throw for 6,000 yards. He has 10 touchdowns, no interceptions. He is, through 4 games, the NFL MVP. He's 8-3-1 ATS on the road, but at home, at Arrowhead, he's only 5-4 against the spread. He's also 4-0-1 ATS as an underdog, but only 9-7 as a favorite. So what we're seeing here is that the Chiefs, though they've won a ton of games with Mahomes at quarterback, they haven't been great at home as a cover team, and they haven't been outstanding as a favorite. He really does better work on the road and as an underdog, so that's something to keep in mind. And then, as it says here, when Pat Mahomes starts, he's only 1-3 ATS, won a favorite of 8 or more points, and 1-2 ATS, won a favorite of 10 or more points. So, I mean, you look at it, last thing, Chiefs only 3-6 ATS under Reed when favored by 10 or more points. There is some information here that suggests that the Colts can hang around. 11 is a ton of points, especially in the NFL. But at the end of the day, I just come back to where the Chiefs are, how explosive they are offensively. They're a top 2-3 team in almost every major meaningful statistical offensive category. And I think this Colts team is still, through 4 games trying to find itself. What do they do well? Is it the offense? Because last week they had a couple crucial turnovers. Defensively, they have some parts. They can get after the passer a little bit, but they don't really strike fear into their opponents. I take a raucous crowd at Arrowhead in prime time, put the best player in the league. I'm putting my money behind him, and I'm taking the Chiefs to cover on Sunday night, this 11-point spread over the Colts. Now, if you want more information on this game, we have a full betting preview available at crossingbroad.com. Check out all the trends, where the money's going, everything that you need to know to bet on this football game. And we also have plenty of articles, plenty of information available about other Week 5 NFL games. Also, again, DraftKings Sportsbook, if you're in the state of Indiana, is the sportsbook to download for all of your Week 5 action. Head over to crossingbroad.com/DK to check that out.